Hi there and welcome. It's Jenna from McGuire. I hope you're having a good week. So a couple weeks ago, I put up a video talking about my favorite coloring tools of the year. And one of the ones that I mentioned are the Chameleon colored pencils. I got a lot of questions about them, so I thought I would do a video showing how I use them for quick and easy coloring. I have two examples for you today. One I'm going to start with is this one here, and it's pretty basic coloring, but it shows you how easy it is to use. Now the stamp set that I'm going to use for this is from Honeybee Seasons Tweetings and Snowbird set. I actually used an image from the Snowbird set on the right, but I wanted to show you both of these because I think the images are just adorable and so very easy to color. But you could use absolutely any stamp images along with colored pencils. Now colored pencils are a completely different tool to use than markers, and they're not for everyone. Some people want that perfectly smooth look that you can get from markers. I like that kind of handmade look that you can get from colored pencils because it is clear that it was handmade. I don't know, there's something handmade about it. Well, the ones that I've been using a lot lately are the Chameleon colored pencils. Now, the reason I use these a lot is it has this handy box that you can flip to stand up. And there are 25 pencils, but there's a different color on the two ends of the pencils. So you actually have 50 colors. So this is so handy to take on the go. And there's a little color chart on the bottom so you know what color each pencil offers. Now, I also found that these do not break easy. They're very break resistant. So I can take them with me and not really have to worry about them. Now, there are two colors, as I mentioned, on each pencil. And these are two colors that they have chosen to work well together. So you don't have that guesswork of finding two colors that would like blend together or work together nicely. They take that guesswork out. So if you're looking for an easy option for colored pencils, this may be a good one. Now I'll link to my coloring video because I talk about two other colored pencil options too. But I feel pretty comfortable saying if you are looking to be like a beginner in colored pencils or you are looking for something that's easy to grab and go and that's effortless, this might be a good option for you. I'm also going to be using Gamsol today. Gamsol is a product that is used to kind of break down the colored pencil and allow it to blend and smooth out nicely. I find it very easy to use and I've been using it for many years. I highly recommend the Inky Antics Gamsol Kit. That's what you see here. There are paper stumps, which is that little tool on the right, a sandpaper board, which you see there on the bottom, and then the little jar of Gamsol. The reason why I recommend this is a bottle of Gamsol with a nice tight lid, and it has a little felt top, which you'll see. So it really contains the product inside. Gamsol is an odorless mineral spirit, and even though there's no odor to it, you really don't want to be breathing it in. So you want to work in a ventilated area and keep it contained. I wouldn't pour stuff like this into like a little cup on your desk to work. That's why I like this bottle, and I try to keep the cap on as I'm working. Now to use Gamsol, you just touch the paper stump, which is in my hand here, to the tip of that felt bottle. It absorbs the Gamsol, and you just scribble the Gamsol on top of your colored pencil. You can do some crazy, terrible looking scribbling with your pencils and be able to blend it out or smooth it out with your Gamsol. Here you can see you can even fade it out so you can have a very soft edge to your coloring. Now, if you do not want to use Gamsol, some people like to use baby oil, and you can use that. And you can use it kind of in the same way I'm doing today. However, I don't have much luck with it. I'm kind of messy with it, so that's why I choose Gamsol. Okay, so I'm going to color a couple birds here. I wanted to show you how fast this is. Now, I know that you can get beautiful, blended, gorgeous, layered results by spending time coloring layers of colored pencil on top of each other. However, I'm not great with coloring, so I always look for the easy way to get decent results. And for me, that is the colored pencil with Gamsol. So I put down some blue here, put it heavier in the areas I want to be darker. And I put a little bit of yellow and even a little brown on top of that, so I could end up with like a warm yellow belly on this bird. And you can see how when I touch my paper stump to the tip of that felt bottle, it absorbs the Gamsol, and the Gamsol lets me blend this beautifully. So you can see it's very easy to blend. I personally feel that this is easier to blend than Copic markers. So if you're questioning, like maybe you've tried Copic markers and struggled with them, I do feel this is easier. I also feel it's easier to go in and add a bit more color in certain areas to get more blending or get more of a particular color, as I'm doing here. So that's why I find these easy to use. I also wanted to show you here, I'm doing just some quick scribbling, just very quick scribbling with a red pencil. And watch, when I come in with my paper stump, it just blends it out with that Gamsol. Now that little sandpaper piece that you see over there to the left, that allows you to kind of resharpen your paper stump and remove any color from it before moving on to the next one. So the paper stump will last you for a very long time. Okay, on this bird, I thought I would show you how you can really create like highlighted spots on your images very easily. As you can see here, I scribbled down some dark pink, flipped my pencil over, which is super easy. I didn't have to go look for a lighter pink. Flipped it over, added a little light pink. Now I'm coming in with the Gamsol and I can blend that out and I get that nice highlighted spot right there in the middle. Some people call that the sweet spot. That's what my friend Kathy Rakusin over at the Daily Marker, that's what she calls it. And look how easy that was to get. So easy. And if you want some more in that darker area, you can go add some more darker color. So you can keep layering with this if you want to also. Now the Gamsol technique does work with the other two colored pencils that I like, the Prismacolor, which are wax-based, and the Polychromos, which are oil-based. The Gamsol does work with both of those also. I do find that I like all three pencils kind of for different reasons. But as I mentioned, if you're looking for a colored pencil to start with and one that does not break often and one that you can easily take with you, these Chameleon pencils really work quite well. So on this one, I'm going to create a little blue bird. So I put down some quick blue coloring, and I like to start in the darker areas and then kind of spread that towards the lighter areas. Then I usually come in with that darker color and just added in those really kind of tight spots where the darkest color would be. And that just kind of makes it pop, and that's all you have to do. Now that Inky Antics Gamsol kit that I've showed you with this little bottle of Gamsol, this lasts you a very, very long time. I've actually had a few bottles of it for many years, from my early days of stamping. So it's a product that you can count on lasting for a while. Now you could just touch the paper stump, which is that white tool in my hand, to that tip, but sometimes I like to flip the tip over just so I can add more Gamsol to the tip of my paper stump, so I can do more blending. Now I'll be honest with you, I usually just scribble color down and kind of towards the edges of whatever I'm coloring, and then I use the Gamsol to pull it in. And that's what I'm going to show you here on the scarf. I'm just putting some pink towards the outside areas of the stripes that I want to be pink. I did no effort to make that blend or look any better than it is. Now I'm going to go in and let the Gamsol do the work for me. So you can either use Gamsol to really improve your coloring and get really fantastic results, or you can be like me and use it as a tool to make your coloring faster. Okay, so now that I have these little birdies colored, I'm going to use one of the birdies on a card. Now the card that I'm creating is actually a coffee cup shape. This is the Honeybee Coffee Card Gift Card Holder die set, and this is brilliant. So it has all the different dies you need to create this coffee card. Now it opens up and you can put a gift card on the inside, which I'll show you. Now there are many creative ways that you can use this die set. I'm just going with a basic design and just going to keep the focus on my little colored bird. I plan to make a few of these for gifts for different teachers or aides at the school. Now before I assemble it, I'm going to stamp some snowflakes with Hero Art's white pigment ink onto the background here. These little snowflakes are from that Snowbird stamp set. Now the cardstock I used is Nina Desert Storm cardstock. It's like a light craft that's just beautiful. I die cut a little white lid, and I die cut a second white lid and cut the lip off, stamped You Warm My Heart on the lip, and I'm gluing it onto the other lid piece with some foam tape just for a bit of dimension. Now I can glue this on to the matching piece on the card die cut. I like how all the pieces in this die set are very obvious. It's really easy to figure out how to assemble this. And there are many ways to use it creatively. So now there is the little wrap that goes around the coffee. I put a piece of strong double-sided adhesive on the flap and then close that flap up. And this piece will just slide on and off of the coffee cup. So you can stamp whatever you want or die cut whatever you want, adhere it to this little wrap, and then you can be sure they can open their card very easily. I've put some craft foam on the back of my little birdie, and I'm going to put him right onto that little wrap. Now when the recipient gets it, all they have to do is slide that little wrap off and open it up. And I'm just going to use some tape runner to tape my little Starbucks gift card into it. You could attach this in many ways, but I find that tape runner easy to do. And then there's room up on the top there to write your little message. Now since my message talks about warming the heart, I thought it'd be good to add a little heart to this guy. So I die cut a little silver glitter heart, and I wanted to glue it on there, but I wanted to stand out and have some dimension. So I squeezed some of my Collage medium, a real big blob of it, and laid that heart gently on it so it's sticking up off of it. And then I set it aside to dry, and it actually dries with dimension underneath. That's a fun trick for when you want dimension on something that's super tiny. Just make sure you don't set anything on top of it because you want it to stay with that dimension. And there you have the finished little coffee cup card. I have one more card for you using the Chameleon colored pencils in Gamsol, and I just wanted to show you a few additional things. Now the stamp set I'm using is from the Honeybee Gather Together stamp set. I love that cluster of little animals all together there in the bottom. Fills a card quite nicely, and there are wonderful stamps of kindness and togetherness that I just think are fantastic to use with this image or others. The coordinating die set has some sentiments and also cuts out all the little pieces, including a large die that cuts out all of the animals. I've just already set that aside. Now I think I forgot to mention earlier, but the stamping that I did for my colored pencils, I used VersaFine Onyx black ink. I recommend that ink or Hero Arts black dye ink. Those are both great options to use with colored pencils. Now the cardstock that I happen to be using today is Gina K Artist Choice cardstock. However, I know that you can use these with Nina Classic Crest Solar White. You can use the colored pencils with Bristol Smooth cardstock. There are many options, so I would encourage you to try the colored pencils and the Gamsol with whatever cardstock you may already have. If you find you're not getting great results, try a better quality cardstock, and it may improve your results. So here I am just applying some brown colored pencil kind of towards the outside edges of the bear here, and I left his belly completely blank. I'm coming in with the Gamsol, and you can see I try to keep the lid on the bottle as I'm working. And I just go and pull that color from the dark edges kind of in towards the belly. Then I decided I wanted to add some more dark color, and I can go back and add more Gamsol on top, so you can layer quite easily with this. Now, as you use the colored pencils and the Gamsol together more, you discover that you don't need to spend much time coloring and applying the color down, and you get really quick at it. Here you can see how fast I am at just kind of scribbling color down on his face, but then I can go in and just smooth it out without much effort. And say you want more of a red-brown after you've put it down, you can go and add some red on top and blend that in. Here I decided I wanted more gray to it, so I went in with a little bit of my gray colored pencil. And I don't have to worry about it looking like I used two different colored pencils in the same spot because the Gamsol smooths it out for me. Now another benefit of colored pencils and Gamsol over, say, Copic markers, at least for me, is that I find it easier to blend together two different colors. So on this little bird, I'm just going to scribble down some blue towards the back half of the bird, and then I'm going to scribble down some green towards the front half. That's all I'm going to do. Then I'm coming in with the Gamsol, and I can just go right over that, and it blends the two together beautifully. There is very little work that needs to be done to blend between two different colors. So I think it's really easy when I want to maybe have like the inside of the bunny ears pink, but then kind of blend into the gray at the top. Really easy to do with the colored pencils and Gamsol. So I finished coloring all of my images here. Now it's time to add some black Nuvo drops to the eyes of all the critters, just to make them stand out a little bit. Now I did put black Nuvo drops into this ultra fine tip bottle. I'm still testing this out. I don't know that I can recommend it yet because I don't know if it will affect the Nuvo drops, but I've done this for a few weeks now and I haven't had any problems. You could instead very carefully put black Nuvo drops down with the regular bottle, or dip it into maybe like a safety pin and then touch the safety pin to the eyes to make a very tiny little drop for the eyes. But this little fine tip bottle has been working really well, and just adding that little bit of very dark black dimension to the eyes makes it stand out, especially in this one where there's a lot of coloring going on. Next, I'm going to do a little bit of stenciling on the background, and I'm going to use this cloud stencil on the right that is from this Honeybee Outdoor Scene Builder stencil set. This is a great scene builder set, but I'm just going to use the clouds today. I first need to mask off the colored animals. So I used my coordinating die, which you can see there on the left, and I die cut a mask from some Avery removable adhesive sheets. So this has a little bit of sticky on the back. So I'm holding the outline down by lining it up with my stamped image, popping the mask right into place, and then remove the outline. That outline or negative space was just there to help me position the mask right over the images. You can also kind of see through that mask too. So now I'm going to apply a bit of Broken China Distress Oxide ink. And the way I'm going to do this is lay down that cloud edge. And then I put the ink and the ink blending tool on the stencil, and I pull it off the stencil onto the paper. And that just gives a little bit of blue along that cloud edge stencil. This stencil is fun because you can rotate it to get a different cloud pattern. So I'm going to do this 3 or 4 times to fill up the background of the card. Now you could use any ink to blend off the edges of this. I just always reach for Distress Oxide inks when there's any kind of blending to do. It really works well with the ink blending tool, and you don't really get the harsh lines that you might get with some other inks. Next, I'm going to create a white panel to put on the inside of my black note card. On that panel, I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the Honeybee Forest Friends stamp set that says, "Thank you for your kindness." I thought that was a sweet sentiment for the inside. I put the sentiment on my Gina K longer acrylic block so that I could use the grid lines on the block and the grid lines on my work surface to make sure that I stamp that sentiment straight. So you can see me lining that up, and I'll be able to stamp that straight with no problem. I created a black note card, and I'm adhering my stamped and colored panel to the front of it, and then adhering the sentiment panel to the inside. Now, the coloring and colored pencil and stamping that I did on the front of the card would have been perfect for a 1-layer card, but to be honest with you, I didn't think about it, so I went ahead and added it to a note card instead. I did stamp some little red hearts in the background just for a little bit of added interest, and there you can see the finished card. You can see the fun blending you get with those colored pencils, and again, this is a great thing to take on the road with you if you're one of those who likes to craft on the go. Okay, so I hope this was helpful in just looking at ways to kind of do some beginner colored pencil. If you're interested in more videos, I have those here in the middle to check out. The products are linked in my YouTube description below, but you can go to my blog for much more information. Appreciate you stopping by. Have a great week.